Next, more from Good Morning Vietnam, plus Robert Plant. But first, these guys.
Hello, I'm Mike Peters of The Alarm, and you're watching Good Rockin' tonight.
Great song. Welsh rockers The Alarm are finally enjoying the fruits of their labor. Their current album, Eye of the Hurricane, is the most successful to date, giving them their first top 40 hit, Rain in the Summertime. And speaking of summer, The Alarm are expected to be the opening act for Bob Dylan on a summer tour, helping them get on the Dylan show, no doubt due to the fact that they've just signed to Dylan's manager. While in Vancouver, we talked with The Alarm.
Well, since the Strength album, which took us on tour for 12 months and brought us into Vancouver, and for the first time, we toured the album for 12 months non-stop. And when we got back from that album, we found we'd all changed an awful lot, and we'd all grown up so much, and it's quite a shock to us, really, because we hadn't really noticed it by being so close for so long. And we knew that we couldn't just make an album straight away. We had to go for a period of re-evaluation and just really make sure that we were still in the group for all the right reasons, and we all wanted to be friends and renew our friendship as people who were older, because we'd all met when we were 15 years old, and it was 10 years on, and, you know, we had to kind of, like, get to know each other again as more mature people, and we kind of need to do that before we made the Eye of the Hurricane album.
It was like, I mean, when we came off the road and started catching up with ourselves, we realised that everybody around the group, all the business side of things, seemed to have their own ideas about what we should be doing, and we seemed to be like the last people to be considered down the line. And we said that, you know, as we were getting more comfortable with each other again, getting friendly outside of music, we said that we want to make our own record. We want to get in the studio and begin to make the kind of record that we'd been trying to make since day one, with the Stand EP. And eventually we felt comfortable enough to do it. We got in the studio and just began to relax. And the Eye of the Hurricane is the result of that. You begin to see things and think of things in a more adult way, I suppose. I mean, the most important way the music was affected in the studio, though, was the band opening up, the band beginning to get through the barrier of being, of having to be translated through a producer. I mean, we produced this record ourselves as a co-production with John Porter, who primarily was there just as our eyes and ears. And that was important for us. He gave us the confidence in the studio to make our own decisions, and he gave us confidence in the music that we were making without having to sort of go back and agonize over a particular piece and say, this maybe isn't as good as it could be, or we could make it better. Well, he'd give us the confidence to say, that's good enough because it's The Alarm.
I came home to Wales to write some lyrics for some of the songs, and rather than sit in my room sweating over a blank sheet of paper, I decided to go out and feel the inspiration of the people that are around me in the countryside. And I went out in a car with my guitar and drove around Wales for a few days writing. At the time I was reading Dylan Thomas's letters to his wife Caitlin that he wrote while he was on tour, on a poetry tour in America. And the language of those letters was very strong, and I tried to use that as an influence to write a very strong love song in presence of love, do something different that the Alarm had not really done before. And there's a little subtitle under the song of Lawn, which is where Dylan Thomas wrote and lived. And each song on the Eye of the Hurricane album has a subtitle where I was in relation to getting the inspiration for a start of the lyric or something like that. And so when we came to make the video for Presents, we thought it would be fitting that we went to Larne and shot in the Dylan's writing shed and showed some of the countryside that is very inspirational down there. When we first came to Canada, our first ever show was in Toronto, and that was all we seemed to really see of Canada in the first instance. And then we came back for a second time round, and we got to get up to some of the French quarter of Canada, and a lot of people who know that the Alarm is from Wales don't realise that this young man on the left here is a Frenchman. And I think Dave has had a chance to speak to some of the people in their native language, and that's helped to get us across to Canada as well.
Yeah, I think the audience in Canada has a kind of temperament that's very calm, and they seem to think quite deeply, and perhaps when they come and see the shows, they're looking at the show in a different kind of way to maybe the American audiences. But when we learned that the record was doing really well here, we realized that we hadn't toured the whole country, and so we wanted to come here and tour in a way that we hadn't done before, which is from east to west, and that's just what we're doing on this tour.
Yeah, we are going to be playing some shows. I know people have seen us in Calgary and Edmonton and Vancouver, but that we are going to be playing on the east coast of Canada between the 9th and the 15th of May. We'll be playing in Ottawa, Montreal, London and Toronto as well, so look out for that.
Just ahead of Robert Plant, Dave Sharp has a special message to all our French Canadians when Good Rockin' returns. Don't go away.
J'espère que tout le monde va venir voir The Alarm à Montréal et Ottawa. Et quand ils arrivent au concert, j'espère qu'ils vont voir quelque chose un petit peu différent. Alors, à bientôt, de Mike et Dave. Salut.
Merci. It was in early 1968 that